welcome, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, to this very special session at the APJ Literary Festival. We have with us a person who, of course, for me is a personal favorite. She's a brilliantly talented actor. And a lot of you over here will know about the very wide range of work that Divya has done. What's also interesting are the books that she's written. Her earlier book was about her relationship with her mother, and we'll talk about that as well. But our focus today is on The Stars in My Sky, Divya's second book, a book in which she talks about her journeys and her experiences and her exposure to some wonderful people in the film industry in Bombay, or what we understand as Bollywood. So welcome to Kolkata.
Thank you so much, and I'm so glad you're doing this session. And thank you, APJ Lit Fest, for having me here. A very good evening, everyone. It's so amazing to be back in Kolkata with my second book. And it's been, I think, a little longer break for me to have visited this lovely city of joy. And I'm glad this book brought me here.
That's so true. So I think, just to be a little chronological and to also give people the way one segues into the other, let's start by talking about your first book. Or maybe, the whole idea about writing. Were you always a writer? Did it come upon you quite suddenly? Did it come upon you? You're a very spontaneous person. And also when you put your focus on something or your finger on something, it's because you want to do it, or you want that thing to happen. So.
I realize one thing: you really don't have to meet someone every day for them to know you that well. Thank you for knowing me that well. Yes, I am spontaneous. My decisions are always very impulsive, but yeah, they're straight from the heart. And as far as my being a writer is concerned, I come from a family of doctors, and my mother used to write. She used to write poetry, prose. I think it was a catharsis for her because we used to live in a very small town where she was a doctor. She didn't have many friends, so she was a single mother. And the kids were very small, so just me and my brother, two kids. And she used to write and keep them. And so I used to see her write. She used to sometimes recite her things to me. I think somewhere I took that with me. So in school, I used to definitely, the teachers used to say, find that girl, get her to write a story. And in college as well. So when I joined the industry, I started writing for newspapers, my weekly columns, people who just had a mark on me somewhere, some incident, some anecdote. And I used to just do it just as a hobby. But my editor started calling me and said, listen, why are you not writing these days? I said, I'm shooting. She said, no, I'm getting a feedback, you better write. So that kind of became a regular column for me. And my biggest fear again was losing this best friend of mine, that was my mother. And I think when that day really came, all I was filled in was not fear that I was fearing every time, but gratitude for her. But for her, I think I wouldn't have been who I am today. The high of having a parent who really believes in your dreams, who stands by you unconditionally, who is your best friend, who's not judging you for what you're doing. And she was that for me. She was my best friend. I never felt guilty of having made any mistake or blunder and saying, Mummy dantegi. Never. And when I told her I want to be an actor, she said, if that be so. So she said, if that be so, then I am with you. Fly. And today, when I look back, this is the life I wanted to lead as an actor, acting, working on the sets, making movies, and every day goes in gratitude. So this book came out of that. Suddenly the title came to me, as you said, Me and Ma, what better could it be? Me and Ma. And I just called up Penguin. I said, I want to write this book. And immediately they agreed. And they gave me 6 months' time. And out of which 5 months, I think I was in depression. I didn't write. 1 month I had, and I said, either I write it now, or that's the end of another dream that I want to, write about her. And that 1 month, I think I wrote rigorously, straight from the heart. And the power of the subconscious really surprised me. Incidents from when I was 3, when I was 4, when I was 5 were just coming up. And it just flowed. And the magic this book had with the readers was amazing. I've had at the airport, I had this girl just coming and jumping up on me and saying, thank you. I said, what happened? I thought maybe she liked the role or something. She said, no, I read your book. And, you know, my mother, somebody I take so for granted. Mama, baad mein karna baat. Mummy, baad mein baat karti hu. Rakh do, I'm busy. She said, I just told my mother, stay put, I'm coming to give you a big hug. So thank you. So I was never called a one-book wonder. कि एक actor ने एक किताब लिख दी हो गया. So I was asked, what is your next book? And so I was thinking, what is it that I'm most passionate about? And it was the world of movies. And I wanted to thank a lot of people who've been a part of this beautiful, amazing journey that I've had. So their anecdotes, how I have loved their work, how I've worked with them, how I had my bonds with them, and all that. So I think there's Gulzar Saab, there's Javed Saab, Shabana Ji, Sham Benegal, Rishikesh Mukherjee, even though I haven't worked with him. But a little anecdote about him that will always stay with me. Shah Rukh, Salman, there's so many. Yeah.
So it's been what, 25 years now in
Yes.
the industry?
Yes.
Yeah. So you come from, you are a small town girl, so you come from a small town in Punjab, and it's incredible how you've moved through the talent contests and the talent route, and also the academy, right? The acting academy through which you came in. And your mother accompanied you on a lot of this journey, on a long journey. And when you take the names of people, or you have the chapters on various people, they really are the most brilliant and the best. They're not just anybody in the industry. They really are the top-notch directors, the top-notch actors with whom you've developed special relationships. And so I have two things to start with. I was telling you this earlier backstage, that this book could have been The Stars in My Sky. The book could have been a very egocentric ride through Bollywood and a success story of yourself in Bollywood. You're hugely talented. You're immensely talented. You're also blessed, and may you stay blessed. But that is not the route that you took. What's generous about you, and what's also very observant about you, is that you've taken little details about people. When we read these 20-odd chapters on different people, at the end of it, what comes to you is the idea that these are real people, and there's something special about each one of them, and you've developed special relationships with them. So it's really about other people. It's about your journey of gratitude, as you say. So really, congratulations on the book. I'd like to start by asking you with this book. So you make this journey through Stardust Talent, through Stardust Academy. So there's a certain route through which you come into Bombay, but you're still a very fresh and a very new person, and you know very few people. And there are two things happening within you. One, where you have dreams and you're going to find those dreams and make them come true. And on the other hand, there is also this slightly shy and reticent person who's thinking, should I do this or should I not do this? And I find this very interesting, because you bring that through in your story. And every success story or every good news story ends with a little dance. So you're dancing all the time, whether you're in your room or you're on a terrace or whatever. If some happy news comes through, you're dancing. So you've got these fantastic stories, really, about all these people. But tell us a little more about the first chapter itself, say, your relationship with Amitabh Bachchan.
Well, Mr. Bachchan, I think for many, including me, has been the reason that people wanted to join the movies. For me, as a 4-year-old, I remember having watched him on the screen, tearing my mother's saris and dupattas, and dancing on his songs, and inviting my neighborhood children and telling them, come and watch me, and my mother shall give you the samosas and the rasagollas, and if you really applaud loudly, then you will also get ruh afza. So I liked to be on stage, and I loved this man who was who was there on the big screen. And I said, I want to belong to this world. I want to be right next to him. And somewhere, I think when you really dream hard, the universe somewhere conspires. And I got selected in this competition, which isn't an academy as such, but it was a film magazine which just had a talent hunt. And it took me from the small town in Punjab, where I was, everyone was thinking we'll put her in the civil services, to Mumbai, where I really wanted to belong. And I was always looking for this opportunity to meet Mr. Bachchan. And my first film with him was Bagban. I don't know how many of you have seen Bagban. But I think that film is a subject which is relevant even today, even though it was one of my first films. But I played a very mean Bahu in that. And I was so excited about doing a part with Mr. Bachchan that, every day it would be, good morning, sir. And he was really amused by my chirpiness and my excitement about working with him. I'm sure he was used to it. But gradually playing a mean woman, I think kind of got on to me. And one day I just came home and I burst out. And my mother said, what, you didn't, aaj kaam acha nahi hua? So I said, no, mama, it was nice. But I didn't know what had gone wrong. The next day when I went to shoot, it was a very sulking good morning to Mr. Bachchan. I was like, good morning, sir. So that day, I think he realized what was wrong with me. He said, come here. He said, I'm playing a helpless person and you are being very mean to me. And suddenly the first lines that came out of me were, but sir, this is a film and I'm just speaking my dialogues. And there was silence. And this is exactly, I think he made me realize the point without even saying anything. I just was so amazed by a superstar, a mega star, who really didn't have to be that sensitive to a newcomer, that today her good morning was different, to do something about it. 3, I think he taught me the magic of detaching yourself from a role when you go back home. And I think my bond with him just grew stronger. In fact, this book, he launched my first book, and Stars in My Sky, the foreword is by him. It just feels amazing that, it's been a full circle for me, that you dream of something, and then all you do is be grateful for this.
And the generosity of these senior stars who also call you up when they've liked your role, and apart from wishing you happy birthday, that's another social greeting, but it's amazing where you've written about so many of them, including Shabana and Javed Saab, about calling you and appreciating your work. That doesn't happen a lot in Bollywood. Honestly, things are much more competitive and people are much more individualistic. You've been there long enough to know how it is.
But I do think you choose your own kind of people. I will bond with this person. You have looked up to their work. You've admired it. And then you do want to be associated with them. And I think things happen. It becomes a mutual thing somewhere around the way. And they appreciate your work as much as you look up to them. So I think I've chosen my stars in my sky. And I'm very happy and fortunate, I must say, about that.
So you've worked with the best in art house cinema and the best in commercial cinema. And your 2 chapters on Yash Chopra and one on Sham Benegal, I think these 2 are fabulous chapters because you really brought out certain things which defined them as directors.
Yeah, the most amazing thing about Yash Chopra, I think many people, most of the girls want to be the Yash Chopra heroine when they enter the industry. That was how it was. And it was my dream that if ever I enter the industry, it has to be introducing Divya Dutta, directed by Yash Chopra. That was something that I daydreamt about, that this is what it's going to be. And eventually, I was shooting for a film in London, and I got a call for Veer Zara. And I was excited. I said, this is it. It's been a little late. I'm not really being introduced by him, but nevertheless. I went to hear the script and I heard the story, beautiful, of course. And then Yashji told me there is Shah Rukh, there is Mr. Bachchan, there is Hemaji, Rani, Preeti, Manoj. The list was endless. And I was like, so what am I doing here? So he said, there's this role of Shabbo. So I was like, if I play the heroine's friend here, I'm done, because it's a Yash Chopra film, and then we are so known for just branding a person with something that is successful. So I just, and Adi told me if it was just another role, we wouldn't have called you for it. So trust me. The way he said it, Adi, as an Aditya Chopra, he had written the film. When I went home, my mother said, do you have like somebody making a film for you? Any godfather? I said, no. So she said, I'm not producing any film for you. So what are you waiting for? Do people know you're a good actor? I said, no, but someday something will come. She says, no, there's no someday. You take up the role that has come to you. You do it so beautifully that people eventually write roles for you. And I started doing Veer Zara. And the dialect, the body language, everything, I really worked hard on it. But I still felt, I'm amongst like stars. But at the premiere of the show, I was holding my mother's hand tight. And when we came back in the interval, I was very nervous. And for the first time in my life, I was I was crowded by people asking for autographs, for everything. And everyone was asking, Yash uncle, ये लड़की कहाँ से आई है? इसको पाकिस्तान से लाए हैं? ये नई है? I had been in the industry for 6 years before that. But that, in the most unconventional ways, became my debut film, which was directed by Yash Chopra. So I always feel when you give it out to the universe that you want something, really, you will get it. In what way you get it is not decided, but you get it surely. So I feel I did get my relaunch by Mr. Yash Chopra. About Shyam Babu, I must say something. My first film that I shot in Kolkata was Bose, and I played Ila Bose in that. So I've learned a lot from Shyam Babu, a lot. And the first time I actually went up to him and I said, sir, I really want to work with you. And I was a kid. And he said, but unfortunately, my dear, he always calls me, refers to me as my dear young lady. So he says, but I've already cast for my film. I said, sir, kuch to hoga. And I was like so keen. He's like, okay, there's one dance number. It's a folk number. Will you do it? I said instantly, yes. And he called me 7 days prior to the shoot. I was like, what am I going to do for 7 days? He gave me the song. He said, go to the folk dancers here in Madhya Pradesh, see how they dance. So I went and saw them dance. I said, why is he sending me to see these people? Where is the choreographer? And when I came back, he says, did you see the dancers do their steps? I said, yes. He says, now you've heard the song, you've seen the steps, now choreograph the song. I was like, I have to choreograph it. I was all of 18. So he says, yes. So I was nervous. He says, these are the dancers who are going to be there. Now you teach them how to do it, their steps. He gave me 3 days to rehearse. And the 6th day, there was a 7-camera crew. And he said, I'm going to take only one shot. So that meant it was like a stage performance. So if you've gone wrong, you've gone wrong. I was nervous. And the entire crew came, all the cast of the film, the villagers, it was a night shift. Everyone cheering me up. I'm cheering up the dancers. Don't let me down. And all of 18 lagi padiyo. And when it happened, the magic of a good performance. And then I saw Shyam Babu just walk away and saying, very nice, very nice. He walked away. It didn't matter to him that he had actually laid so much confidence in a newcomer and made me so confident for life. And this is what I think I learned from him. And forever grateful for these experiences that I have.
That's what makes him such a special director, I think. You also have chapters on the heartthrobs of the industry. So there's one on Shah Rukh Khan, there's one on Salman Khan. I was wondering if you'd like to read something or tell us about an anecdote from those chapters.
Should I talk about Shah Rukh? Yeah? Okay. He has his audience here. um, so about Shah Rukh, I think his first show, 4G, all these girls in college had a huge crush on him. And when I got into the movies, I was like, I have to work with him someday. And there's a little excerpt that I read, my first ever meeting with the Shah Rukh Khan. I'll just read it to you. One day, I had gone to the production house that was producing Bazigar. I was told that I was being considered too. And then I was told that the hero was Shah Rukh Khan. I met the producers and the directors, Abbas Mastan, and they looked pretty happy about shortlisting me. As I was walking down the steps, I bumped into someone who was rushing up the stairs, and all my photographs fell out of my bag. Oops, sorry. He looked at me. I froze. It was him. Yes, it was. As I stood dumbfounded and speechless, he picked up my scattered photographs and handed them to me. Hi, I'm Shah Rukh. You're Divya, right? Hope to work together. Good luck. And he walked past with that dimpled smile. I stood there motionless, trying to absorb what had just happened. He knew my name, and he had wished me good luck. I pinched myself. Yeah, I wasn't daydreaming. This time, that dimpled smile was for me. I was blown away by his charm. He had cared to remember the name of one of the shortlisted actors. Wow, I had finally met the Shah Rukh Khan.
And then you have fabulous chapters on some of our best actors of all time, particularly the one on Irfan. And I really enjoyed that chapter because there's so much about technique and understatement and timing. And tell us broadly about really the lessons that you might have learned, and which are those most important lessons that you might have learned from co-stars, co-actors.
I feel acting is all about reacting to your co-stars, to a situation, to what they're doing. It's very important to listen. It's very important to react. And when you have the finest of them, like Irfan, it's party time. What I learned from him was I think the magic of improvisations. I remember my first film with him was a film called Dubai Returned, and he didn't like rehearsals, neither did I that time. And so we just exchanged the dialogues that we know what we have to say. And in that scene, he was supposed to give me a glass of water, and I was supposed to tell him to get out of the room. And in the scene, what he did, he wouldn't give me that glass. So I'm thinking, why is he not giving me the glass? And then suddenly he was like, having fun. I could see the twinkle in his eyes and that naughty glint. So I was like, give me the glass. And suddenly he just dropped that glass. And that look of shock on my face, I had two choices. Either I said, cut, I want to do it again, I'm not prepared for it, or I go with it. So I chose the latter. And I was by then so, taken up by what had just happened, that I just mustered up dialogues from I don't know where, and I then said, गिरा दिया ये कर दिया वो कर दिया ये कर दिया and अब तुम निकल जाओ यहाँ से. And the way I said it, it was a comedy film. It just became very funny, and the way I banged the door and everything, it added so much more. And when it was done, I heard claps everywhere. I said, kya hua? Because I was so nervous that I just saved myself. I was saving myself, and Irfan said, आता है तुमको संभालना. So that for me was like a litmus test. It was amazing. I started enjoying those improvisations because there's a magic on the set. One is the written word, the other is what you add to it. So I guess who better to do it with than Irfan Khan himself? Yeah.
You've also been doing so much of OTT work now, and what you must be really enjoying are the roles which are being written for you. I mean, that's just fantastic, isn't it? So if you'd like to share your thoughts about techniques or about certain lessons which are different from big cinema, from cinema screen, and the OTT platforms.
Well, I think for an actor, the medium doesn't really matter as long as you're really enjoying what you're doing. OTT, web series ho, ya fir feature film ho, you're playing a role. It's just that you're probably giving a little more amount of time for a web series because of the time duration. But the role, the experience of working with a good team, a good director, would essentially remain the same. And for me, I think my mantra has always been to just enjoy the journey, to have those butterflies in my stomach every time I get into a role. I need to be nervous. This last year, I had 4 very different roles. One was Ma, where I played a mother from ranging from 30 years to 65. And at the premiere night, I had these elders coming and blessing me with tears in their eyes. Some of them even touching my feet, and I literally jumped up on the seat because I was like, oh, what happened? And the next week, I had Dhakad, where I played the negative role, the main negative role. And it felt so amazing that you've had such distinct roles in just a week's span. And so, yes, I think I enjoy that. When I look into the mirror, I want to see a different Divya, whichever medium that is. I want to work with great co-actors. I want to tell beautiful stories. I want to come back home laughing and dancing, as you said, and say it's been a great day, I guess. Do you want to ask the audience?
We'll open this out to questions from the audience. Is there a mic around for the... Okay. So we have someone here with a question. Okay.
Hi, Divya. I followed your career with fascination. You spoke about Bose, which was the first film you shot in Kolkata. You also shot Rituparna Ghosh's The Last Layer in Kolkata. And I loved your performance in that of Ivy,
Thank
the
you.
nurse, a film in which Sangeeta Datta was the associate director. So if you could speak about that experience and Shia Korma.
And Shia
Shia
Korma.
Yeah.
The 3 films that I've shot here have been Bose, of course, and Ritu Das' film, The Last Layer, and a film called Ram Singh Charlie, which actually got me to the very roots of Kolkata, where we did the rickshaw pulling and eating on the roads, doing these just random shots, just feeling the streets of Kolkata. So I really enjoyed that experience of immersing in the crowd and being one of the people. And it was beautiful, I must say. And one of my finest experiences. Ritu Das' film, of course, I mean, I actually, he kept the name as Ivy. So I was like, you've taken the letters from my name. And he just laughed. He said, yeah, and this is for you. So the experience of working with him is an actor's delight, absolutely. With those 4 camera setups, totally concentrating on you. You prepare your scene and then you improvise. And then he comes and whispers some of the magic words to you, and your performance just takes another route, absolutely. A delight to have worked with him, and just shooting in the studios of Kolkata. I think I've been fortunate to have done that. Yeah, and vis-a-vis Shyam Babu's film, he's the one who actually made me taste every little thing, give me the taste of Kolkata and say, this is Macher Jhol, this is, this is Mishti Doi, and this is this, and this is that. And giving you the flavor of the city you are in. And since then, I think I've been in the very good hands whenever I've been in Kolkata. So this has just and only great memories. And by the way, I just see Anjum here, and thank you so much for having me here.
Question from Anjum.
Welcome, Divya.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to have you here. And Sangeeta, I'm so glad that nothing stopped you from doing this evening. She's had a medical emergency in the house, so
okay.
it's amazing that she's being able to
Sangeeta,
cope with
thank
all
you
of
very
that.
much.
I just wanted to ask you, Divya, about your poetry. I have not had the privilege of reading much of it yet, but can you tell us a little bit about you as poet and what it means to you and the kind of poetry that you write?
Anjum, for me, writing poetry has been very, very recent. In fact, I was starting this book, The Stars in My Sky, and there was a mental fogging that happened, and I just couldn't get myself to write just another line. And I was like, what is happening to me? And we were in the lockdown. And of course, we were all in these crazy circumstances, situations, dealing with a lot of situations that we are not used to. And then I realized I now actually know the names of all my neighbors. I actually went and asked the watchman, hey, are you okay? Do you want something? I'm actually going up to the terrace and feeding the birds. I'm doing these little things. Then what happens to me or to the others when we live in normal times? This was weighing very heavy on my chest, and I wrote my first poetry, which went viral, which was Jab Sab Theek Hoga Na, To Ye To Karte Rahenge. So that was like an experience. Mr. Bachchan also tweeted about it. Very sweetly, he sent me a message, Aapki ijazat ho to ise tweet kar do. So it felt so nice to have done that. Otherwise, I write more of prose. But I've had these lovely people who've always encouraged. In fact, Javed Saab said, "Tum likhna shuru karo poetry, kitab mein chhapa do." So, I've had my brother's poems. I have my mother's full book of poetry, which I recite everywhere. And there's like a gamut of poems that I have, which I write. For me, poems, reciting is another world for me, and I love doing that. And writing happens rarely, poems, but it does happen. Any other question?
This is a gentleman there.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Welcome to Kolkata.
Thank you.
Ma'am, my question to you is how similar yet different is the Divya Datta of 1994, who made her debut, and the Divya Datta of 2022 who is making movies like Dhakkar and also web series?
Well, the child in me is still intact. I think the core remains the same, but the experiences of life make you learn a lot. You grow with them. There's a lot of experience that comes with it, lots of confidence that comes with it. I can face situations that I used to hide from. I was, as she said, very protected child. I used to hide behind my mother for everything. Ke, Mama will deal. Now I deal with it, with every situation myself. I think with growing years, with all the films that come by, there's also so much love and admiration that comes your way. That also is a motivational thing. It inspires you to move ahead. And yeah, I think I'm a different person in many ways. Last 2 years specifically, I would say, have been a personal growth for me. But work-wise, it's always natural. When you look back at your previous work, you'll say, "Ye kiya tha kya? Can I do it better?" But it is a part of you, and you accept it, you love it, you enjoy it, and then you move on. So yeah.
Any other questions? I'd like to ask you about your process of writing. I mean, you did say you wrote poetry during the lockdown period, and that's always been a sort of important transition phase for a lot of creative people. But otherwise, given that you're also a very busy actor, what's your rhythm of writing? Do you write every day?
Unpredictable. I write when the heart says, "Come on, pick the pen up or pick up your laptop, just write." And I think that I am also as an actor. If I'm given a scene, a lamba scene, and I'm told ki isko tayar kar lena, you have a month to do it, I will not touch it until the last few days, because I know this is it. I have to give it my best. I love deadlines. I love a danda on my head that you have to do it, because I think you do the best in those last days, because you know this is what's going to go out. And vis-a-vis writing, I have, when I started this, One chapter was written in the lockdown when I had all the time in the world. I couldn't write beyond that. And then when the movie started, I remember I was shooting for Dhakar, a 7 a.m. shift. We were supposed to go to the forest. I woke up at 4 a.m. every day. I would write a chapter and then do my makeup and then go. And I called up my editor. I said, can you just in 3 days remind me and tell me, listen, your deadline is done. Otherwise, I won't publish it. So she said, what nonsense. I said, please do that for me. And she would very sweetly do that. And I think it just happens because the power of subconscious is so amazing, this personalized journey of going within, getting all those memories out and penning them down. And it surprises me myself that I remember those things. You ask me something that happened yesterday, I'll be blank. But ask me about these experiences embedded in my heart.
Yeah, what comes through really is your love for cinema, and starting from Natwar Lal and everything else that you saw as a very young person, the fascination that you have with the big screen, the fascination that you have with performance and entertainment, all that really shines through in the book. So thank you, and congratulations
Thank
once
you.
more with the book.
Thank you so much, and I'll end this session with just a little snippet. Since Anjum had mentioned, I'll just recite something from my mother's. This is something that she would send me from Punjab to encourage me when I was always, if I had a rejection or something and I was sad. She used to write her poetry and send it to me. And one of them was this, which actually got me going. And it, in a way, is the title of this book, The Stars in My Sky. मैं सितारों से बातें करती हूँ, मैं अक्सर सितारों से बातें करती हूँ, कभी कभी उनसे पूछ लेती हूँ, क्या तुम्हारी तरह आसमां के अंधेरों में चमक पाऊंगी, जिंदगी की इस शहर में क्या कभी टिमटिमाऊंगी. तभी एक सितारा टूट जाता है मेरी गुमनामी की तरह किसी अंधेरे में, दूर कहीं दूर खो जाता है, फिर भी मैं अक्सर सितारों से बातें करती हूँ.
Very, very beautiful. Thank you. That's a perfect ending to our session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking this one up.
Thank you for being a wonderful audience here. And thank you.